Yukito, the son of a cult leader devoted to the god Mitama, is immersed in water by the cult with the hope that he will be reborn as their future leader. Yukito sincerely desires to be reborn in a world devoid of religious beliefs. He awakens in a new realm within a secluded village and forms friendships with Alara and Siluril, two sisters, as well as Clen and Roy, who are farmers. Several weeks later, they journey to the Imperial City to assist Alara and Roy in acquiring explicit magazines. During their visit, Yukito witnesses a public mass suicide, which teaches him that in the absence of religion, the fear of death dissipates. Consequently, when the government deems its citizens as no longer useful or as social deviants, they willingly end their lives. Alara and the villagers are considered deviants since they refuse to take part in the suicides out of fear of death. Alura's deviant status is attributed to her passionate nature. Subsequently, Alara and Siluril go missing, and Yukito discovers that outcasts can be executed at any given moment. Siluril has already been hanged, and while attempting to rescue Alara, both she and Yukito meet their demise. As Yukito faces death once again, he fervently prays to Mitama, who materializes as a young girl. Mitama, who has been eagerly awaiting Yukito's summons as the next cult leader, proceeds to kill the government soldiers, and resurrects Yukito and Alara. She is excited to become the sole deity in a completely new world. Mitama resurrects Siluril and other deviants who were hanged as well. Alara, unable to comprehend the concept of a deity, becomes envious and assumes that Mitama is Yukito's romantic partner. Worried about potential retaliation from the government, Yukito inquires about Mitama's abilities only to feel disheartened upon discovering that she has lost her powers in this new world due to the absence of believers. With the looming possibility of the government sending an army to their village, Yukito realizes the need to gather 10,000 people who will worship Mitama and restore her status as a deity. Roy, after discovering his affinity for masochism, becomes Mitama's first believer when she treats him with disdain. However, Mitama remains disappointed by Yukito's lack of genuine belief in her. Her attempt to display her godly knowledge falls short as she merely recites embarrassing events from Yukito's childhood. Likewise, Yukito's attempts to inspire belief among the villagers through fortune-telling and magic tricks prove unsuccessful. Tragedy strikes when Alura's beloved fox, Chilchil, perishes from poisoning. In a moment of desperation, Mitama employs the remaining trace of magic fueled by Roy's belief to resurrect Chilchil, leading both Alara and Siluril to believe in Mitama. Regaining some of her power, Mitama agrees to Alura's plea to resurrect the soldiers she had previously killed, as they were innocent individuals who were merely following orders. However, when Mitama resurrects the soldiers' commander, Bertrand, as a woman, he becomes irate. Bertrand, in his female body, attempts to return to the imperial government but faces rejection as an anonymous deviant. As a result, Bertrand reluctantly accepts Yukito's offer to reside in the village and assumes the role of Mitama's holy knight. Employing somewhat questionable recruitment methods, Yukito manages to secure an additional 100 worshippers for Mitama by offering exclusive benefits to members, such as priority protection against monsters and access to Mitama's healing magic. While being compelled by Alara and Siluril to wear female attire, Bertrand discloses to Yukito that the Imperial Army's strength stems from the archons, individual warriors bestowed with formidable abilities by the Emperor. Yukito becomes captivated by Bertrand's seemingly magical sword, only to learn that it was crafted by the Emperor. Meanwhile, the Archon Atar is assigned the task of annihilating the village but finds their progress repeatedly hindered by sudden monster appearances. In a sudden moment of inspiration triggered by a memory of his father, Yukito recognizes that many religions gain popularity through martial arts training. With Clem's approval, Yukito resolves to propel the deviants into the modern era. A month later, Atar arrives and encounters Bertrand, who is now clad in even more provocative attire. Intrigued by Bertrand's altered gender, Atar decides to abduct him in order to investigate. However, Atar is astonished by the village's remarkable transformation as they have embraced modern technologies, including wind turbine generators, motorized vehicles, and expansive industrial farmlands. Yukito demonstrates that Mitama has the ability to summon and restrict the use of modern technology, which he limits exclusively to her followers. As a result, Mitama swiftly accumulates nearly 2,000 believers. Additionally, Yukito introduces the concept of exclusivity, asserting that believers are superior to non-believers. Clem admits that he is not truly a deviant. In the past, he worked within the emperor's palace, but grew disillusioned with that life and willingly chose to reside in the deviant's village. Intrigued by the absence of a concept of gods to explain unexplainable phenomena such as natural disasters, Yukito queries the matter. Bertrand clarifies that such occurrences are elucidated by members of the assembly, who serve under the emperor, rendering them devoid of unexplainable events. Yukito discovers that Atar has captured Bertrand. Atar denounces modern technology as sacrilege against the emperor and the assembly. Utilizing the power of 2,000 believers, Mitama engages in a battle against Atar's arcane abilities. However, Mitama exhausts her power first. Perplexed and infuriated by their defiance, Atar proceeds to destroy the village only to witness its immediate restoration. Atar realizes that it was an illusion, precisely as Clem unveils her true identity as Loki, an archon, disguising herself under an illusion. Having infiltrated the village as a spy, Loki determines that Yukito and Mitama are the ideal individuals to assist her in assassinating the emperor. Loki escorts Atar, Yukito, and Mitama to the presence of the emperor, but promptly discloses that he himself is an illusion and that the castle they are in is actually a colossal machine called the Assembly. The Assembly governs the empire through a self-destructive system, ensuring that it remains unchanging. Mitama reveals that humanity indeed brought about the destruction of the world through religious wars, prompting the survivors to construct the Assembly in order to eradicate religion from society's memory. Yukito comes to the realization that he wasn't reborn in an alternate world, rather, Mitama transported him thousands of years into Earth's future, a time when religion had ceased to exist. Growing weary of the Assembly's control, Loki offers to assist in its destruction. However, Yukito doubts Loki's intentions, prompting her to disclose that she learned from the Assembly itself about the concept of free will that humans once possessed. Loki had infiltrated deviant villages to study this concept but realized that even those communities were indirectly influenced by the Assembly. It was then that Yukito emerged, bringing God alongside him, a being that represents the pinnacle of free will. Driven by her desire for such power, Loki convinced another deviant village that she was God, and their belief granted her god-like abilities. Consequently, Loki, along with the Archons, excluding Atar, conspire to overthrow the Assembly and ascend as deities. Recognizing the superiority of free will, Yukito agrees and pledges to support Mitama in defeating the Archons, ensuring that she becomes the sole true god. To achieve this, Mitama destroys the Assembly by causing a massive tree to emerge beneath it. Loki is taken aback by Yukito's commitment to thwart the Archons, understanding that they would make for unfitting deities. Loki departs, leaving Atar without power while temporarily restoring Bertrand's male form. Bertrand chooses to accompany Loki to the Empire in the hopes of permanently regaining his original gender. Feeling despondent, Atar contemplates suicide until Yukito offers her the possibility of becoming a god herself and rebuilding the Assembly. Alara mistakenly assumes that Yukito has an attraction to young girls. Yukito proclaims Atar as their second god, granting her half of Mitama's power by sharing their believers. Siluriel discovers that the Archon Dakini already possesses 10,000 followers as her religion revolves around sex, lust, and perversion, with priestesses holding the title of sluts. Determined to undermine the church from within, Yukito decides to infiltrate it alongside Mitama, Roy and Alara, posing as false believers, and seize control of the 10,000 followers. Rish, the chief slut, escorts them to Dakini for initiation. Yukito becomes anxious when the initiation involves being locked in a room with Alara under a potent lust spell. Drawing upon the training imparted by his father, Yukito resists the temptation until Mitama comes to their rescue. As Rish enters the room, the residual lust energy affects her, leading to an orgasmic reaction and exposing her as a virgin who does not truly believe in Dakini. Realizing that Mitama is also a god, Rish implores her assistance in dismantling Dakini's depraved religion. Loki reveals that the Assembly Society is failing as Bertrand is shown. Rish confesses her past as a deviant and explains that her expertise in sex was recognized, leading to her becoming the chief. She further states that Yukito promises to dismantle the church and in turn, she approves their fake membership. Mitama's absence weakens her followers, who start worshipping Atar more frequently. Yukito employs Riche to spread modern sexual knowledge, imported toys, and medications from Japan, causing Dakini's followers to neglect worshipping Dakini and focus on Riche instead. In response, Dakini brainwashes Roy by normalizing masturbation, causing him to betray their plans. Riche, Yukito, Mitama, and Aruaru face accusations of heresy, but Riche, who was coached in acting by Yukito, convincingly pretends to be completely loyal to Dakini, even pleading for punishment at their trial. This strategy gains the support of Dakini's believers, as someone so devoted to Dakini couldn't possibly be a heretic. To prevent a potential rebellion, Dakini delays the trial and imprisons them. Roy reaffirms his loyalty to Dakini and abandons the group. Yukito starts devising an escape plan, but their cell is suddenly visited by the Purgers, Dakini's fiercely loyal and exceptionally strong bodyguards. Assembly created Dakini's power to restrict human love as a means of population control through artificial baby growth. Over thousands of years, humans became infertile and incapable of love. Secretly defying Assembly, Dakini introduced pornography and rekindled love in a portion of the population, particularly through a deviant named Toka. When Toka became pregnant, she was murdered, leading Dakini to swear to restore love to humans at any cost. Atar and Siluril rescue Yukito and the others from the Purgers. Atar, now worshipped by over 6,000 of Mitama's followers, gains enough strength to confront the weakened Dakini directly. However, Dakini reveals that even after Riche stole some of her followers, she still has over 14,000 remaining. It is revealed that Riche is Toka's daughter. Dakini infects Atar, Aruaru, and Siluril with uncontrollable lust, resulting in them molesting Yukito. Mitama comes to their rescue, borrowing Riche's 1,500 followers, and as a genuine deity compared to the false archons, easily defeats Dakini despite having fewer followers. Dakini attempts to flee but is apprehended by Roy, as Yukito convinced him that betraying Dakini would make Mitama desire him. Defeated, Dakini breaks down in tears as she realizes that it was she, not Assembly, who destroyed human love, and she pleads for Toka's forgiveness. Dakini pretends to betray Yukito in order for Dakini to regain leadership of the church. This creates an opportunity for Yukito and the rest to escape. With Riche's followers included, Mitama finally reaches a count of 10,000 followers and fully restores her status as a deity. Upon their return home, they discover that the village has been completely destroyed by monsters. Despite recently regaining her godhood, Mitama expends her power to repair the village. Archon Gaia, who controls the monsters, appears and explains that the destruction of the village was unintentional. Due to her limited following of only 2 believers, she lacks the strength to control her monsters. Gaia expresses her desire to aid in defeating Loki, as she disagrees with the Archons fighting amongst themselves. The group visits the city, but finds that Loki has constructed a massive wall around it. Bertrand, who remains female and deeply unhappy, expresses a desire for death. Loki possesses near-ultimate power with 1,120,000 believers, although Yukito mocks the seemingly small number and departs with Bertrand. In the village, Yukito is relieved that his tough facade was successful since he is clueless about how to defeat Loki. Bertrand reveals that society has already recovered and now operates similarly to how it did under Assembly, except with Loki as the emperor. Yukito realizes that Loki's followers may still hold some loyalty to the previous emperor, making it easier to win them over by making Mitama more popular than Loki, potentially by transforming her into a teenage idol. Yukito creates an idol group with Siluril, Aruaru, Gaia and Atar that quickly gains popularity. Since Assembly deleted all music, Yukito has recreated it. Yukito realizes that Mitama's power is not only based on the number of followers, but also on the depth of their faith. This means that a god with fewer followers could still defeat Loki if her followers have stronger faith. Thanks to music, Mitama's followers have stronger faith than ever. Yukito sends Bertrand to investigate Gaia's secretive behavior and discovers that Gaia has adopted several children as her small group of devoted followers. Yukito decides to eliminate Gaia because the devotion a child has for a parent is immeasurable and could make Gaia very dangerous. Bertrand develops feelings for Yukito and tries to assault him, but it turns out to be a joke by Dakini. This confirms that Bertrand is beginning to accept his female body and mind, much to his dismay. Dakini has become a big fan of music because her followers enjoy playing music during intimacy. Yukito keeps Gaia occupied with idle training, while Dakini wins over the children to protect them from Gaia's plans. The oldest children, Kai and Cyan, remain loyal to Gaia and reveal that they have Gaia's ability to control monsters, which they use to attack Dakini. Gaia makes a reappearance, bringing immense joy to Cyan and Kai. However, their relation is short-lived as Gaia discloses that she no longer requires their assistance. She summons her most formidable creature, Typhon the Living Fortress, which engulfs Cyan and Kai. Alara and Silurul arrive in a truck to rescue everyone. Gaia's son, Yushi, explains that Typhon is exceedingly loyal and can be controlled without the use of magic. They also reveal that Gaia based Typhon on a book from the old civilization predating the assembly. Typhon, whose main body is even larger, attacks the truck and devours Yukito and Mitama. The village inhabitants realize that without them, their religion is likely to crumble. Yukito regains consciousness within Typhon, discovering castle-like rooms where Mitama, Cyan, and Kai are also present. Gaia reveals that she has killed Yukito 300 times before, but Mitama's love continuously resurrects him as an immortal being. Gaia explains that the ancient civilization used genetic engineering to create archons, while some humans rejected science and chose to live in harmony with nature. Gaia's mother led one such group and exploited Gaia as a means to gain power. Unable to endure the abuse, Gaia murdered her mother and fled, eventually being transformed into an archon by the government. Gaia has grown tired of leaders manipulating people for their own selfish purposes and is determined to put an end to their actions permanently. Yukito comes to the realization that he has become similar to his father, using people to gain power. The entire deviant village pursues Typhon on a mobile platform, with Mitama's music group rallying the villagers to support Yukito and demanding that Gaia release him. The villagers, inspired by the music and filled with unwavering faith, empower Atar to launch an attack on Typhon, but the creature quickly regenerates. Mitama pleads with Yukito, urging him to finally believe in her so she can rescue him. He proclaims his belief in her, granting her the strength to set him free, only to immediately claim it was a joke, leaving Mitama furious. Atar declares her retirement as a deity and encourages her followers to put their trust in Mitama. They agree, but not before Rish reveals that Atar will be joining Dakini's cult for erotic services. Mitama is liberated, subdues Typhon, and delivers a fatal blow to Gaia's heart. Typhon explodes, freeing everyone trapped inside. Kai, driven by his love for Cyan, attempts to kill the weakened Gaia for her betrayal, but Cyan intervenes, realizing in her own convoluted way that Gaia truly desired a family. Gaia reconciles with her children. Kai, deeply caring for Cyan, agrees to keep a watchful eye on Gaia under Yukito's supervision to safeguard Cyan. Yukito discovers that Mitama now has an astonishing 30,000 followers, surpassing the number of available villagers. Privately, Loki appears before Yukito and reveals that she secretly lent some of her followers to Mitama to eliminate Typhon without endangering her own life. Loki departs, anticipating Yukito's arrival at the capital. Yukito is reunited with his friends, who insist he joins in their joyous celebrations of victory. Reflecting on everything, Yukito ponders whether people truly need gods when, at times, the presence of one another feels sufficient.
I hope you liked the recap. If so, don't forget to subscribe and like it.